Now on to the fun stuff. We gotta get the wiper done. And I'm trying to figure out how to make a vent in here for my defrost. And then I also have the fun task of back there, I gotta make it come up forward to that hole somehow. So should be exciting. But let's get to it. Alright, so I ground off the top of that. Now we just gotta get it to pop off. We'll shorten this down and we'll tack that back on. Alright, so I cut it down and I knocked the bushing out the very end that would have been up here. And now we're just gonna shove that back in that hole and then put the rod back in and tack the arm back on the top. Here we go. They're all shortened down. It'll plug well in the end there. Spins fine. Pretty good. I think I have to notch this and turn it or something yet to get it to clear, but we'll see. So like I said, I do want to make sure I shout out 1194 video, because this guy, he's done this a bunch of times. He's good at it. Just a good guide to follow if you're doing something like this. I also watched the KC Customs video, and his were pretty good too. I don't think he went into this in depth, or I missed it when I was watching, about how to cut the dash and so on and so forth, and your defrost and wipers working. I think he might have just skipped the wipers, I'm not sure. But this is what I got. You can see it down in there. Kind of function a little bit. Obviously that's not hooked up to anything, but the defrost is right here. So I know the 1194 guy, I think his name is Lucas, he had cut and moved that thing farther up in the cowl, but we'll see if we need to. Maybe there's a difference between the 67 and the 66, or my body could be higher. I don't think so, because it's back dab down on the original bottom side of the cowl, but not a big deal. I'm just gonna work through it. So there's one thing you'll notice if you do watch those videos. I haven't removed my wiper cowl yet. I left it intact so I can keep my windshield width where it's supposed to be. Whether that's a big deal or not, I don't know. However, with the dash bar in, I cannot get the stupid heater box to clear, like to try and put it in, or your blend door basically. So I need to either take the cowl off or pop the dash bar back loose, which is fine. It's only a couple bolts, so I'll just do that probably. And I am waiting to plate all this shut, just because, well, there's really no reason. I'm just doing that after I do the wipers and stuff. There's not really any adjustment in that bar. It's pretty solid, just the way it sits. It's bolted on that side, here and there, so they're not a big deal. So pop that loose, get this in, and see where I need to actually cut it, and see if we're gonna clear that wiper, because I wish I had my power probe here, because I need to cut some of this off for sure. And I was thinking if I could cut it the right angle, that we could turn it into an angled vent like so. That would be definitely like way better in our favor. And then maybe on the dash we can just do a center exit with some fins that shoot both ways or something. I even partially considered cutting up the original, I think this is the original defrost vent, but it's not very fancy, so But I thought about cutting it into 2 pieces and welding it back together, and then, you know, filling the, or maybe shorten it or something. I don't know yet. Worst case, I could even possibly reuse the factory defrost vent, which is pretty snazzy in itself. So if we could get that in there, which I don't think it would be all that hard. It's just the plating out the bottom side and making it function would be the challenging part, because you can lay it right over. You know, we're gonna be cutting more dash, and I really don't want to cut any more dash. So we'll see what we can come up with. But for now, we're gonna just work on getting it in there, and then getting the making sure the wiper's clear and start getting that thing mounted. So I haven't decided whether I'm going to use the 65 wiper motor or if I'm going to use the 2012 wiper motor. The 2012 wiper motor obviously is better electronics. It plugs right in, probably a little more reliable. And either way, it's going to be up under the dash, so it's going to be a thing to change it. But so anyway, here we go. No power probe, no problem. You just pop the blend door actuator off. Easy. So now we have an idea. We should be able to, you know, come in, you know, at a certain angle or whatever. It's not gonna have full blast out the bottom side, but even if we can get it out of this side, I think we'd be good. And I still have to figure out how I'm gonna bond it, because I don't have a plastic welder. So it's probably gonna be like an epoxy job or like tin sheet metal or whatever. But we'll see what we come up with. I got a little cut happy, but should work. You can see the flap sticking up. That's the highest point for it, so should work. And then we'll kind of probably skim something on the top of it to come up to the dash. So I got to take that dash bar out and then work on getting this in there. All right, so I'm picking away at this, just studying what I can do here with this wiper motor, and I think I'm on to something. I didn't want to use the old wiper motor. I was pretty dead set on that. I did consider it after being a little frustrated, just with placement and stuff. I was trying to use the original bracket from the 2010 a little bit, like, you know, it's just gonna mod into it, but I was really struggling to like hold it in place. But this is what I come up with. Since I had shortened that other 1 inch off of this one, I had to shorten this down. Oh God, rest in peace. So I shortened this one down and I cut this side off. So I'm gonna chop this one down too to match. And then there's a little trimming we gotta do in the body right there, probably, but not a big deal. But so now we got, this is the 2010 motor, you can see, on the old 60s bracket, and I just had to drill some new holes. I still have one hole to work on. I'm gonna plate that shut. I'm just using it for mock-up purposes right now, but it actually hooks in here real nice. And about where the old one was, I gotta look into make sure that everything else is gonna clear yet. So I'll probably throw a self-tapper in it. But this is about where the other one, it would set, kind of. And you'll see I gotta pitch a little bit of an angle at it yet. It's because the angle's gotta match, otherwise it'll bind. But another reason why I didn't want to use the old one, the old motor, was I accidentally got rid of the plug-in when I scrapped the dash. Buddy picked up, oh wait, yeah, he took the dash, I'm pretty sure. So instead of calling him up and asking for it back, because it's kind of rude, I was looking at buying a plug and it was $100, and then I realized that this thing is pretty much the same dimensions as that motor. So if I can't make that one work, then I wouldn't be able to make this one work. Or if I, vice versa, if I can make that one work, then this one should work. So just gonna keep plugging away at this, and instead of time lapsing or whatever, I'm just gonna fill you in as I go, kind of as we change how things are working. I gotta bolt the arm back on that, but I have to extend it to mimic the original arm's length, which is not a big deal. It's not a big deal at all. And then we got to figure out how to connect them, and if we can get all that done, then we are done with the wiper part. If we can get that all functioning, and it'll be pretty easy. We'll just have to get it on there, all welded in. We got to modify the armrest away, but all said and done, we'll be able to function it with just a ratchet or whatever, and make sure it functions. It goes through the sweep. We don't have glass, so we can't really try it per se, but we can put a little mark on the, or we could put the arms upright, like sticking straight up, so they're in where they would be, and then watch them go through their sweep, make sure they will function properly, and then we'll work on the defrost. Holy crap, I came out to try and get something done, and it is like 100 degrees in this carport. Anyway, I just wanted to catch you up from last night. I was on TikTok live, so I couldn't keep you updated because I was too busy talking. Basically, I got everything jogged out of the way. You can see it come over, a wrench on there because I was cycling it. I gotta cut this back a little bit, but I think we have enough room for everything now. Nice and tight, it's there. I'll walk around the other side, show you that. We'll have to get the dash bar back in and verify that the defrost clears, but I'm pretty sure it will. Use the 65 mount, use the 2012 arm, modified and extended a little bit, and shorten this one down too, just to give us more room. And that's where we're at. This isn't mounted yet. It's just kind of sitting here, but once we figure out where it's actually supposed to sit, with that tacked in too, and then we'll probably put a couple just pieces across here to keep it where it's supposed to, after it, I'm gonna get the cowl cut off once we verify all this is good. So I cycled it, and the only issue we had was a little bit of rubbing on one end, and then it does bind a little bit, like it hits a stop on one end, but I can fix that while I have it torn apart. So I'll just take put a little bit more angle back into the one piece. So, but that's where we're at on that. I might go try and find another fan, because it's just not fun in here right now. So I still think it's cooler than outside, but on this side is almost 10 to 20 degrees cooler than that side. And I think, yeah, the thermostat says it's 83 on this side, so I bet you it's at least 95 to 100 on that side. So not very fun for working, but all right, got the dash back in, and I think we're gonna be good. We have a pretty good bit of room here. So it's not bolted in, obviously, but yeah. Those are the cycles and everything good. So now we just got to get this wiper cowl, or the top cowl, off, and start making stuff permanent. Well, I've established that drilling out spot welds is not my favorite task. However, I finally got it done. There's so many on this thing. But now you can see where I gotta kind of trim it out because that comes down and touches. And then I gotta fill that void. I noticed a little bit of a discrepancy, and it would have probably been fine for most people, but this gap, I had to fix it. It was driving me nuts because it wasn't the same as that side, but now it is. Though it didn't really help my clearance issues here, but now it's where it's supposed to be. So now we just gotta I had to pop all the tacks loose along here, get her sucked down. So now I just gotta redo those and should be good. All right, ended up getting the rest of that lower cowl out and trimming it down. You'll see I also put a big old notch that used to come across here. And this is that piece bent up. And notch that out. And then I'm actually gonna put the cowl back on and kind of box this all up. So it'll give me plenty of room to do some defrost stuff. Obviously this wiper will still be in that area, but I'll be able to work around it a little better with the boxed out, and it'll still suck air, so. All right, I may have broken some OSHA rules, but luckily that don't matter to me. I stripped all the paint off that with that fancy resurfacer guy. I'll show you. It was so flimsy that I had to clamp it in the vise and use it as a mounted tool. Whatever. Anyway, now we had to get this piece tacked back in. This is the framework to all what we're doing. I got to trim down so it's the way I want it, and then just got a few things to do other than that. So let me get this thing tacked back in and see where we are for the day.